There's the Washington coach, Lorenzo Romar. He is 5-2 his last 3 years of the Pac-10 tournament. Lost in the title game in 2004 and won it in 2005. A terrific coach. He is working mainly with a very young team. Marcus Johnson, a lot of freshmen and sophomores in responsible roles.
Yeah, and then you factor in that Spencer Hawes went down with the stomach ailment, and they were 1-6 during that time. He was having the stomach problems. Those are the kinds of things that you try and plead your case. But in terms of keys to the game tonight, Arizona State, they've got to rebound the basketball. Washington's one of the best in the conference at it, and they've got to limit their turnovers for Washington. They've got to handle this tricky zone of Arizona State. They had problems down in Tempe, and they've got to get second chance points. John Brockman, Spencer Hawes, Quincy Pondexter, and all in the paint doing some work.
There's Ryan Appleby. He hit 6 3-pointers in one victory over Arizona State this year. And Ryan is playing very well, averaging over 18 points per game his last 3. So they're coming on well. Last week, a sweep of the LA schools. USC on Thursday, and the number 2 team in the nation, UCLA, on Saturday.
Ryan Appleby playing defense held Aaron Aflalo to 4 for 14 shooting from the field, just 12 points. So Appleby, as the rest of the Husky team has done, really picked up their defensive effort the last couple of weeks.
Arizona State finished last in the Pac-10 at 2-16, but won 2 of their final 4 games with wins over USC and California. This is Darren Shipp, brother of Josh Shipp, who plays for UCLA, and the Bruins will go tomorrow in Game 2. And there is a 3 from Serge Angunu. If they can get that kind of play from Serge, we've seen him score 10 to 12 points, and what a big lift that can be.
Yeah, against Arizona, final game of the season, February 25th, knocked down some big jumpers from the outside. That's a tough matchup for Spencer Hawes, the 7-footer that chased Angunu 20 feet away from the basket.
And it is an offensive foul against Washington. Coming the other way, John Brockman with the call. And again, it's a difficult zone that they have to attack in that 2-3 established by the Sun Devils.
You saw how Lorenzo Romar plans to go about it. Get the ball in the middle of the floor into the hands of the 7-footer, Spencer Hawes, who is a terrific high post passer, cause the zone to collapse, and maybe you open up some shots for Ryan Appleby, Justin Dittman on the outside.
Angunu hit his last 3, and here on the drive, misses short, and it's picked up by Angunu, and he loses it out of bounds.
Serge had the right idea, knocked down his first shot, so Spencer Hawes has got to respect the up fake. Just blew the layup. I mean, he had a pretty good look at the basket, minimal contact inside. He's got to finish off those plays.
Justin Dentman, he was the point guard as a freshman last year, but he had a guy right next to him, Brandon Boyd, who took a lot of that responsibility, bringing it up the floor. Brockman has been tremendous the last month of the season, and he knocks in his first 2 with the rebound tip.
It's great. You know, great rebounders do their dirty work early. They make sure they establish position before the shot's even taken. They know their teammates. That's what Brockman did to get inside of Jeff Pendergrass.
Derek Glasser from the corner misses here. And we told you 5 field goals made in 20 attempts. So he's had 2-4 games against the Washington Huskies, both in victories by Washington this year. And Jaron Shipp escaping inside.
A nice movement without the basketball. Great pass. That's what you got to do against Washington. Make them have to play defense for long stretches on the shot clock.
Brockman tries for his second tip, doesn't get it. Glasser with the save to Jaron Shipp.
It ends up play by Glasser. A lot of times guys just throw that pass blindly underneath their opponent's basket. So I was thinking easy too. He found his teammate and made sure and delivered the pass right to him.
Really bringing Angunu way away from the hoop. Now he'll go low and post up. They're trying to get Spencer Hawes away from that basket. And now Serge puts it on the floor and misses the jumper.
That's what Lorenzo Romar is going to live and die with defensively. You know, if Serge can have a huge game, which he hasn't really throughout his career, I'm talking like 25 points, 20-point games, then you may make some adjustments, but you make those shots.
Appleby has been red hot of late. We have talked about his averaging 18.6 points per game the last 3, and Herb Sendek saying somebody's got to find him on that wing.
He has really stepped up his game, and even more so on the defensive end of the floor.
Shipp misses. Pendergraft does not miss with his first field goal.
That's just hard work. Jeff Pendergraft had difficulty making that shot last year as a freshman. This year, he's worked on it all summer long. He knocks it down a lot more consistently.
Angunu with the steal, a 3-on-2 break. Shipp on the drive, scores quite easily.
Arizona State will take their opportunity breaks. We saw them against USC push the ball up the floor more than they normally like to in the second half of that game when they beat the Trojans by 10 down in Tempe.
And Lorenzo Gromart told me he would really like to do that. Get a lot of breakaways and the steals this time. Fortuny in the game, and he hasn't rejected. Washington goes the other way. This is what Gromart was talking about. They have to attack it on the break, and Hawes does, but misses the shot.
Got to finish that play off, but great hustle by Spencer Hawes on the trailer block of Fortuny.
Is this pace too fast for ASU?
It is for Fortuny. He couldn't find a handle on the basketball. You know, normally I would say yes, but again, I saw play this pace against USC have a lot of success. It was in the second half, but here's Spencer Hawes coming from behind. Very tough to do that without getting some kind of contact and fouling, but that was a clean block from behind by Spencer Hawes, who had 15 rebounds against UCLA. He said he was going to stop messing around. It was time to go get him, and he went and got him.
Feeling good.
And he went and got him.
He had that flu where he lost 15 pounds and had an ankle sprain that kept him out of the starting lineup for a while. Here's Brockman on the tip. Both of his field goals have come on offensive stickbacks.
You got to be like a heat-seeking missile on John Brockman's body. You got to find him each and every time a shot is taken. He will just kill you on the offensive glass. That second chance points we talked about as one of the keys.
And Arizona State was out-rebounded by 9 in the 2 losses to Washington this year, and Brockman chewed him up. He had 31 points and 22 boards in the 2 wins.
Jaron Shipp, nice jump shot. His high school coach, Harvey Katana, came by and said hello to us a few minutes before tip-off, and just a well-schooled, great program, Fairfax High School here in Los Angeles, California. Jaron Shipp, Josh Shipp, Joe Shipp, all the Shipp brothers.
Phil Nelson, a good outside shooter here on the drive, kicks it off to Oliver, who goes into
Nice.
Hawes, and Hawes misses the layup, but will be at the line for 2 shots. They reversed it well, but Washington and Arizona State, a good one in game 2 of the play-in. 5 minutes into the Pacific Live Pac-10 tournament, first round game, ASU leads by 4. Let's go to Jim Watson.
You know, Steve, Lorenzo Romar has been the head coach at Washington the last 5 years, but folks here in Southern California still think of him as one of their own. He was raised in Los Angeles, went to Pius X High School in nearby Bellflower, and then Cerritos College for a couple of years. After that, he transferred to the University of Washington, where he played for the legendary Marv Harshman. He spent 5 years in the NBA, and then he got into coaching, eventually landing on the bench at UCLA as an assistant to Jim Herrick, and he was there at a great time. I don't have to tell you guys, that 95 team, of course, won the national title in, of all places, Seattle, and the point guard on that team was Cameron Dollar, who's now an assistant at Washington. Romar's got deep roots here in Southern California. Of course, he coached at Pepperdine for 3 years. His family's still here, and he recruits heavily in Los Angeles. So maybe you can't go home again, but you can go home and recruit.
And did you know that he was actually cut at Bourbon Day as a sophomore, then went to Pius X? So he's really a self-made guy who spent like 6 years in the NBA.
Everywhere he's gone, his junior college coach at Cerritos Junior College was a guy that didn't think that he had a future in basketball, tried to discourage him, but he just continued to work on his basketball game.
And I think Lorenzo was never not the smartest guy on the floor. He had to be. So here is Arizona State leading by 3 points as Spencer Hawes made 1 of 2 shots. Jaron Shipp on the floor with Alan Morrell, who comes off the bench. Goes for the 2-and-E. And it's Alan Morrell on his first field goal attempt, dropping it in from about 10 feet out left baseline.
Yeah, I mean, that was a new play. First time I've seen that for Arizona State. 2 guys starting at the high post, a little pick down with a UCLA action, with a back pick, and Alan Morrell lines up with an open jump shot. But, you know, Washington, once again, has got to solve this. It looks like a 1-2-2. It starts out, morphs into a 3-2 zone with the 3 smaller guys. Really doing a nice job protecting the perimeter.
Well, they're doing a better job of getting to the shooters, and the main shooters, again, are Nelson and Appleby. Both were on the left side, and I thought they had a skip pass open to Appleby. Instead, they tried to go cross-court to Nelson, and they hit the end line, turn it over.
And they've got to continue to look with this small guys out front. You can make that pass inside to Spencer Hawes also, as long as he stays active, keeps his hands up, and really hunts the basketball.
Because of Arizona State's limitations offensively, Washington now playing zone and hitting outside is Jaron Shipp. I said limitations because they are one of the worst 3-shooting teams in the Pac-10 conference, but Jaron Shipp says not so fast.
And they've got another guy in Christian Polk who's just about to overtake Ron Riley as their all-time freshman three-point specialist. So they've got a couple of guys you have to pay specific attention to defensively.
Nelson denied. They work into Brockman. Adrian Oliver. And he will miss the three, and he has had trouble all year long nailing that free shot. And they think he's got a terrific future as a shooting guard or point guard.
Out of Modesto Christian High School, Adrian Oliver missed a big one against Washington State University that could have put his team up late in that game. But again, Washington State with the 2-3 zone. And of course, Arizona State to have to continue to show that they can knock down some outside shots.
We saw them do that against the University of Southern California when they won their first conference game of the year. Glasser hit 3 shots or 3 attempts, and that was big. And now Pendergraft in the gap of the zone, knocks it down right baseline, and they're now on a 13-3 run over the Huskies.
2-3 zone, that short corner jump shot will be open with good ball reversal. You got that from Arizona State, and that's an area that Jeff Pendergraft has really improved on. Nice.
Brockman open. And that is a goaltend that went down anyway, but Pendergraft with the goaltend and count the basket for Washington. They cut it to 8.
And here's that good ball movement, and here's the short corner. That's the short corner jump shot, about a 12-footer dead baseline. Second one that Jeff Pendergraft has knocked down. And then for Washington, Adrian Oliver, nice job of just being the facilitator. They love his game. They say he reminds them a lot of Miles Simon, the former Arizona star.
Well, John Brockman goes out, Artem Wallace in. What is happening with the Washington zone that has not been effective against ASU?
Well, again, they're doing a decent job. First of all, I thought their man-to-man defense had done a pretty decent job against Arizona State. They're going back to that now. You know, make some of these guys have to make individual effort type moves being defended man-to-man. Jaron Chip is not his strength, and Tia Twinlane is not his strength. And they're catch and shoot guys. This is Arizona State team.
Morrell trying to take it in on Hawes, has it stripped free. Morrell gets it back and again pounded down low, and a foul likely will get called against Phil Nelson, his first.
That's a bad foul by Nelson, and I say that because you got the 7-footer Spencer Hawes, the principle of verticality, arms extended, great position on Alan Morrell inside, and you no need to reach and bail out Morrell and send him to the free throw line.
Here's Arizona State. They already have 18 points, and ASU only had 21 and 28 points in the first half of their last 2 games against Washington. Obviously, both were losses. Alan Morrell, a 6'6 senior from Arlington, Texas, who's been hobbled by so many knee problems. Serge Anguna comes back in, and their training staff has often said that if you put Morrell together with Anguna, you've got 2 good legs.
Cold, man. It's really cold, but it gives you an idea just how difficult a career both guys have had in their 5-year stints here at Arizona State, or there at Arizona State. We're here in Los Angeles.
Wallace trying to set the screen for Adrian Oliver. Bad feed by Oliver, and he travels. He got in the air, didn't know what to do, and turns it over for the 5th Husky turnover. Washington not playing well early, trailing ASU by 9. From Staples Center in Los Angeles, it's the Pacific Live Pac-10 tournament. Steve Biziak along with Marcus Johnson. Let's go to Jim Watson.
Because, you know, it's tournament time and everybody's got to play hurt, including the coaches. Jim Shaw, assistant coach in Washington, was playing a pickup game the other day with Tim Morris, who's a redshirt senior at Washington. And he came down after a shot. It always happens in the last minute of a game. Rolled his ankle, diagnosed with a high ankle sprain. So tonight, with the suit, a high boot to protect him as well. And by the way, Tim Morris, who played 3 years at Stanford, has transferred to Washington, going to play 1 season. Why would a school take a guy with 1 year left? And his second cousin is Lorenzo Romar.
Exactly, and Lorenzo's niece is a cheerleader at California. So he has friends and family all over the conference. There he is.
We are family.
Got that right.
I got all my cousins with me.
A beautiful man, but right now he's a little concerned the way his team is playing against a very aggressive defense.
Well, Spencer Hawes is 0 for 2. It's still early in this game, but they've got to find a way to get him some shots, get him more shots, get him some touches. Serge Anguna's doing a decent job, but no way that he should hold Spencer Hawes scoreless at this stage of the game. There's another missed opportunity close inside for Washington. That's about the fourth one.
After a good feed from Hawes, high low to Artem Wallace, and there's the left-hand hook by Hawes. And he went over the back of Ancuna. He was fortunate not to pick up the foul, but Washington on this end of the floor is where they're being hurt. They're not defending well. ASU had 15 turnovers in each of the previous games against Washington. They only have one tonight so far, and they're getting the shots and making them. They are 8 for 13. That's 62% from the floor for a very, I would have to say, below average offensive team.
Yeah, and it's the question, can they sustain that? When Arizona State has played well against UCLA when they had the lead, against USC when they beat them, they committed just 9 turnovers in both those games. So they've shown an ability, especially with Derek Glasser on the floor. That's what he's out there for, to take care of the basketball.
Well, the shot clock was down to 3, so Christian Polk had to let it fly, and he does and misses. Quincy Pondexter off in the right wing. Again, facing that 2-3 zone. Ryan Appleby is out of the game now, and Washington just does not give you that outside look with Appleby on the sideline.
And it's double trouble. I mean, John Brockman going to check in. Ryan Appleby headed to the scores table to check in, but at least with Brockman on the floor, if you miss, you've got a real aggressive offensive rebounder in the paint that can get you some second chance opportunities.
Brockman with 22 rebounds in 2 wins for the Huskies this year for Herb Sendek's Sun Devils. And right now the Huskies only have 10, and this is a team that averages over 70 points per game, and they've got 10 in the first 10 minutes.
I'm just watching Brockman as he comes back on the floor, and he is focused, is I guess the word I will use. Wouldn't be surprised to see him get a bucket inside or a jump shot or something to try and get his team going. There he is.
Brockman fighting for it, but it's, and they'll finally have a hell ball situation. But Marcus, you have to bring up the fact that Washington's so comfortable at home, 17-2. They have 1 win away from Seattle this year.
And here's John Brockman. That was at Arizona State, that 1 win. There's John Brockman just throwing himself right into the midst of the rugby scrum. And even in that win against Arizona State, Washington was up big in the first half. Arizona State was able to close it to like 61-58 with a minute left in that game. So it still wasn't a comfortable win for the Huskies. But you talked about it. I mean, all the freshmen and sophomores, the illness and injury. Spencer Hawes hurt his ankle around the midpoint of the season. The team never embraced any kind of defensive personality until late.
And somebody shoved Jeff Pendergraft. He's helped up by Sergio Aguno. The foul will be called against the Huskies, and it goes against Spencer Hawes, his first of the game.
Yeah, this is a feisty Arizona State bunch. I mean, they've had 14 games decided by 5 points or less this year. 15 games have been 2-possession games. 20 games, 10 points or less. So they're going to be right there in your face the whole 40 minutes.
Every time we were in a conversation today with basketball fans here at the Pacific Life Pac-10 tournament about this game, Washington and Arizona State, one fan might say, oh, Washington's going to advance, and another fan might say, wait a second, have you seen the way ASU's playing lately? Have you seen their defense?
Against contrasting styles of play, this is a difficult style of play. I mean, Washington, they're a lot more comfortable going up and down, putting 75 to 80 points on the board. Arizona State's not going to allow you to do that.
Jaron Ship inbounds. Christian Polk is Appleby back in with Detman in the backcourt. Brockman, Nelson, and Pondexter front line.
Washington really trying to dig in defensively, at least on this possession.
And the shot clock is right now at 8 seconds. It was last touched by a Husky. And there was a personal foul called. And it goes against Ryan Appleby, his first, so at 35, clock will go on the board for Arizona State as Antwi comes back in the game. Antwi Atuini, junior from Ontario, Canada. And this is where ASU will really make opposing defenses work. Glasser looking for the foul, doesn't get it, but knocks it down. and ASU's up by 11.
Great job by Derek Lasser of using his body as a shield, and there was a lot of contact.
Ryan Appleby kind of juggled the ball as he caught it. Didn't have a great look, and his footwork was off, and misses this three.
Talk about Derek Lasser, young man out of Artesia High School in Los Angeles, drew the contact and then gets the slow rolling trickle to find the bottom of the twine for him. But Justin Denton's got to continue to apply man-to-man pressure on Derek Lasser like he's doing. I think the man-to-man defense against this team is your best bet.
And Gunu in and out, and Brockman tips it to himself.
And here's your problem down at this end. Who is going to generate some points?
And Gunu doing a good job fronting John Brockman on that low post. They finally get it to John, and he misses the shot. And it's off the hands of Quincy Pondexter. Washington has scored only 2 points the last 7 minutes of this game.
The offensive end is where they're having their struggles. I mean, Arizona State's made some shots that are uncharacteristic of them early on. But for Washington, I mean, and that's a good look again by John Brockman inside. I mean, I wonder how just Washington's a little tight, kind of feeling the pressure of having to win 4 games in 4 days in order to keep their string of 3 consecutive NCAA tournaments alive, making it 4.
Or is it the fact that Arizona State's defense and offense forces you to play at an uncomfortable style? They love it, opponents hate it, and frustration showing on the faces of the Huskies. Washington coach Lorenzo Romar was reminding his Huskies all week long on how difficult and how tough it is to beat Arizona State.
What's been very impressive about the Arizona State team is they went for the longest time without a win. And I've never seen them put their head down. Not any time this year. They've always kept their heads up, and they've always come back and fought really, really hard. And I think that's a great testament to Herb Sendek and his coaching staff and the character of their team. So a team like that is one that you have to be very careful against because they've got no quit in them.
And yet he's facing a team that is 8-21 and 2-16 in conference play. 2 of those wins have come in the last 4 games. And 15 of the 29 games this year have been decided by 6 or fewer points, but the record 3-12. But they give you a full effort for 40 minutes, Marcus.
Yeah, and they do indeed. And then they kind of stay in contact. But that's a nice little wrinkle out of the timeout, running Spencer Hawes on the baseline. And once again, using the 7-footer with his ability to look over the top to kick it out to the open shooter, Justin Denton, at the 3-point line.
Here's Christian Pope tied up by Appleby.
Continue to say you got to run your offense through Spencer Hawes, whether it be on the baseline, the middle of the floor.
There's the steal by Dentman. Justin inside Brockman. He's an animal. I love the way Brockman plays.
He goes at it, but once again, Brockman, and this is a very makeable shot. And the post-up move, Spencer Hawes, a point-blank tip-in for his 5th miss without a bucket inside. But here's John Brockman, Spencer Hawes right there, the easy tip-in, going to miss that. And there's the contact inside, and we got a technical foul for I don't know if that was a kick or what was going on, but it's a little too aggressive inside for the officials' liking.
And it goes against Quincy Pondexter, perhaps for the kick. So we will see a Washington Husky, and this is the point of the game that they're making a little move now.
Lorenzo Romar chastising his freshman. Look, we're just about to start to make our move play a little bit better offensively. And we're going to give him a gift too with the not too bright play on the inside.
Derek Glasser, a 78% foul shooter, will have 2 shots and then ball inside.
Brockman's going to get a couple of free throws, I believe, for the foul on the inside after the offensive rebound.
Glasser makes 1 of 2. And I beg your pardon, it'll now be Washington basketball after the foul on ASU.
Now watch the center of the screen. Here comes Quincy Pondexter right in there. Just a nonsense push against Antwia Tuane. No reason for that whatsoever.
So now John Brockman at the foul line, a 67% foul shooter.
I just blew up the telestrator, didn't I? What the heck?
Well, John's from Snohomish, Washington. He was the #1 prospect in the West, also recruited by Duke.
Yeah, Duke, UCLA. I mean, Ben Holland said, can you believe it? Ben Holland thinks John Brockman would have been his type of player.
Something doesn't surprise me about that.
That's not at all. Tim Floyd said John Brockman would have been his type of player.
Well, as Lorenzo Romar said, his type comes along just once every 15 years. Tough, physical, great teammate. Here's Anguin, left wing, missing the three. Detman has it. Huskies with a mini run here, where they had Brockman open alone, and finally Anguin got back to cover. There's Hawes wide open.
Nice interior pass.
Boy, was that nice.
Yeah, and that's the pass that they were missing against this small 2-3 zone. I say small because they got the three small guys kind of floating around the perimeter out top, so you can get that pass in over the top of the zone. And there's Spencer Hawes who does it. He passes as well with his left hand as anybody I've seen. Writes with the left hand, kind of an ambidextrous kind of a player. But just does a great job with that little left-handed wraparound pass as Brockman continues to struggle from the free throw line.
So Washington making a mini run. They have cut the Arizona State lead to 22-15. Glasser with the pull-up. No, and Hawes with the rebound.
Going to get it, but again, man-to-man defense make Arizona State have to shoot the basketball on the move, make plays on the move. It's not their strength. You let them spot up, they'll kill you.
Yeah, they had a real tough time with the zone because it looked like ASU was setting their feet, able to feel comfortable on their shots, and were they shooting 62% in the first 10 minutes of this game?
Yeah, this is what Washington, what they've done so much better the past few games. Their man-to-man defense, especially Ryan Appleby against Aaron Aflalo, did a great job D'ing him up. Justin Dittman against Darren Collison in that UCLA game held Darren Collison to 5 points. And it just puts you in a different, more of an aggressive mindset. Also, another terrific pass inside. Spencer to Brockman.
And they put three guards on the floor to spread it and have Hawes and Brockman down low. And there's Jeff Hawes, Spencer's father. And big decisions going to have to be made by Spencer when the season is over. There's a lot of NBA scouts we talked to say his skills are very good. They'd love to still see him stay in because he can grow so much more at the college level, playing a majority of the minutes.
Let's see, who have I seen in the stands tonight? Rod Higgins from the Golden State Warriors. Now, Rod Higgins, Billy Knight from the Atlanta Hawks, their general manager, Dale Dent from the New York Knicks. There's quite a few NBA guys here checking Spencer Hawes and some others out, but I think mainly Spencer Hawes. But he needs to stay in school one more year, minimum. He probably use a good 2, but one minimum.
Washington on a 7-1 run.
And again, it's fueled by their man-to-man defense. Nice job, Adrian Oliver, all over Jaron Shipp.
And Washington really making their move on the defensive end, not on the offensive end of the floor. They've spread the floor offensively with Appleby back in the game, playing with Dentman.
Here's a little hand check by Ryan Appleby, picks up another foul, but they're digging in, and they're digging in man-to-man, and when you play man-to-man, all of a sudden, your whole posture changes from passive to aggressive at both ends of the floor.
Hoke on the drive. No. Rebound, Brockman. Oliver almost had it tipped away. Hawes to Brockman. Boy, that's good passing again. This time it's stripped from Brockman and taken away by a Tuane. Pendergraph. Short. Brockman may have tipped it in.
Either Brockman or Antwia Tuane knifed himself, wedged himself in between the bigs and got a quick hand on the basketball. But another good feed. Again, run that offense when you're attacking the zone to Spencer Hawes here. To John Brockman.
Passes are just terrific.
To John Brockman there.
Little high-low action with Hawes. You know, he might be the best passer on the floor for the Huskies.
Yeah, he is. Without question. He is. No question. But here's a pass. Nice little overhead pass to John Brockman. There's Antwia Tuane. doing a great job collapsing, and then watch a 2-and-8 here sneak inside, get a hand right there. A couple of guys. It may have been Brockman. It was pretty close. Those guys going after the ball.
So 11 points now for John Brockman to go with 6 rebounds, so he continues to wear on Arizona State. We told you 31 points, 22 rebounds in the 2 wins by the Huskies over the Sun Devils this year. One of 2. Chewiney getting the call from Herb Sendek. 4:43 remaining first half of the Pacific Life 2007 Pac-10 tournament. Already tonight, we saw California beat Oregon State 70-51, and Brockman dives, steals, Pondexter. Yes!
Got to finish off the play, but Brockman getting down, getting dirty, buffing the mahogany, makes it happen.
Lorenzo met him and kind of gave him an elbow and pat on the back.
And Christian Polk kind of casually leans over for the basketball. There's nothing casual about Sergeant Carter. Move it, move it, move it. John Brockman, as Quincy Pondexter does a good job in transition, finishing off after the contact. But make no mistake, it was John Brockman that made it happen. But Washington, there's a lot of missed free throws for the Huskies here.
But that guy looks just like Dave Cowens of the Boston Celtics.
Dave Cowens going against the Milwaukee Bucks back in, I believe, 1969 or 70. Just like that kind of a play. But that's what Brockman's all about, and he gets a well-deserved rest as Hans Gasser gives him a brief spell. But trust me, he'll be back in the game within a minute or 2.
And it was just great to see Lorenzo Romar greet him when he came up the floor. He gave him a little elbow and a tap in the back.
Kind of like I did you in the Open, man.
Let's not
a little
go
elbow
there. That's a technical foul. Jeff Pendergraft misses the front end of a 1-and-1.
I like the way Spencer Hawes, he's not having success scoring the ball. He's doing a great job passing out of the middle right here, and then also rebounding the basketball that goes into the floor.
They leave Appleby open, and he misses a 3 completely. Hawes somehow banks it in as he was slugged along the hip.
Banks it in with the left hand. Again, just cannot overemphasize how much more effective you are as a big man when you can use both hands in close to the basket. We're going to try to get some scoring Arizona State from Jeff Pendergraft.
3 short. Appleby runs it down at 12-3. Washington run. They're trying to extend it more. They can tie it or take the lead with a 3.
Again, Arizona State got to stay in that zone. Washington needs to continue to attack, get the big guy in the middle, get him the basketball, let him look over the top.
Oliver with the pull-up. No. There's Hawes. Yes!
Rebounding the basketball. And he has done a terrific job at both ends, going after the ball, aggressively keeping it high above his head. Don't bring it down amongst the midgets inside so they can get a piece of it.
It's the second tie of the ball game after ASU went up by 10.
5-second count, turnover, Derek Glasser.
After a brilliant first 12 minutes, Lorenzo Romar's defense changed from the zone to the man. The guys more active, and they're right back in it. They've tied it at 24 with 3 minutes left in the first half. We're here at the Pacific Life Pac-10 men's basketball tournament. Washington might be the best play-in team in the country.
Tonight.
Well, Bill McDonald, when the year began, a lot of people were saying that Spencer Hawes and Greg Oden of Ohio State were the 2 best freshman centers in the nation.
Yeah, and Greg Oden does it at the defensive end. Spencer Hawes will never be mistaken for Bill Russell, but he's got tremendous offense, great footwork, and terrific bloodlines. Father Jeff, Uncle Steve, both former Huskies.
Well, he has led the way on a wonderful run, 14-3 Washington since the Huskies. The last 6 minutes, Arizona State at one time led 21-10 with 8:54 to go, and Washington has really produced on the defensive end, forcing a lot of turnovers.
I tell you, the adjustment Herb Sendek has made, he's putting more pressure out top on the basketball in this zone, not allowing the guards to have the freedom to make that entry pass into the high post to Spencer Hawes.
As Brockman's back in the game. Here's Pendergraft from about 18 feet out. No. And Brockman saw Morrell climb over his back, commit the foul. But Washington's got to start making their foul shots.
Yeah, they're struggling miserably from the foul line, just 4 for 10 at this stage of the game. But, you know, one way, and Justin Dittman would be the guy that you can offset the pressure that Arizona State now is applying out top of their zone is to try it now. You can beat your guy off the dribble when you're 25, 30 feet away from the basket.
John Brockman, 3 of 7 from the foul line, 3 of 8. And here's a guy who worked a lot on his shot in the offseason.
72, 73% of this year, up from about 67% last year. Shot 600 shots per day during the summer to improve his stroke. It looks good. It's just kind of a mental thing with him.
Well, Washington has their first lead of the game at the 2.5-minute mark. With 8 minutes to play, they had scored, 10 points? That was it.
Again, the zone had them a little pass right. You know, I really believe these young guys, they understand the enormity of the task that faced them here at Staples Center this week.
7th rebound for John Brockman. He led the Pac-10 at 9.6 this year with the 2 top rebounders in the conference. Brockman at 9.6 and Jeff Pendergraft at 9.1.
It's nice. Adrian Oliver trying to dribble drive, get into the gap, and the left hand.
Left hand, right hand hook.
That's about the third little short left-handed shot. It looks like he almost feels more comfortable shooting those shots left-handed than right-handed.
Well, he and Brockman have been the spearheads to this 17-3 run now.
And Brockman has been the spearhead all season long. Now that Spencer Hawes has increased his intensity on the floor, that's why Washington had all the success they had against USC and UCLA last week.
They give Morrell the 3-point shot, and he'll miss it. This team really limited from outside, and Washington, after switching from the zone to the man-to-man, much more active, and forcing some bad shots, off-balance shots by ASU.
Brockman just knocked Jeff Pendergraft into tomorrow.
I'll tell you, that young man's emotional. He's been getting after it all night long.
Yeah, and they're doing a terrific job, Brockman and Hawes, but here, nice feed by Adrian Oliver as he penetrated the gap. And watch Spencer Hawes step through behind the backboard, left-handed Lena.
Well, I think they've got a terrific future when you consider who's in the floor. Freshman Hawes, freshman Pondexter, sophomore Brockman, sophomore Detman, freshman Oliver. And that's a big reason they were 1-10 in a row. Now Pondexter makes them both, and Washington has their biggest lead of the night at 29-24.
They got their swagger, they found their mojo, and it was found at the defensive end of the floor. The pressure in the basketball in the last couple of possessions. Look at the guys who missed shots for Arizona State. Jeff Pendergraft, this is an 18-footer. Alan Morrell, here's another one. This is another jump shot. So you got the right guys shooting the ball if you're Washington defensively.
Well, the first 2 play-in games, we've seen incredible runs. One by California. That was a 34-2 run on Oregon State, and the Bears won. And right now, a 21-22-3 run by Washington over ASU. And Herb Sendek says, we've got to call a timeout. I know there's only 34 seconds left, but this is getting bad. They have been outscored dramatically by Washington, and the Huskies opening up an 8-point lead. Steve Biziak, Marcus Johnson, Jim Watson with you here at the Pacific Life Pac-10 Tournament. Washington beginning to take control.
Doing a nice job attacking the zone, and they're doing it with Spencer Hawes. Now watch, he's going to catch the basketball right in the middle of that zone right here, and that causes the zone to collapse. Now you got a couple of guys around him. You got shooters over here, shooter here. Defense can't get back in time to react. Justin Dittman does a nice job burying it, and that's about the 5th or 6th time they've gotten something good, either on the inside to Brockman or kicking it to open shooters on the outside by going through Spencer Hawes at the high post. He's 7 feet, great passer. He can see over these Lilliputians.
Well, they're going for the final shot of the half. It's Detman covering Derek Glasser. He gets the screen.
To attack and look for a shooter.
And it's Steve Jones from the corner, shoots the air ball, and it's all over. An incredible run by the Washington Huskies. They scored 10 points the first 12 and a half minutes of the game, and then scored 22 the last 7.5 minutes. ended the half with a 22-3 run led by Hawes and Brockman as they combined for 19 points and 15 rebounds in the first half. So ASU has a big mountain to climb in the second half.
Well, they, just like Washington had to solve ASU's zone, ASU's got to solve Washington's man-to-man defense.
All right, Marcus, let's go to Jim Watson.
A 22-3 run by Washington erases a slow start for you guys, and it started with defense. Brockman diving on the floor. That's inspiring stuff.
That's what we talked about. Too often this year, our identity has been on the offensive end, and if offense doesn't go well, we tend to lax defensively. That's slowly been changing, and it changed within a half. Once our identity became on the defensive end, then we started playing a lot better, and consequently, we got easy baskets on the offensive end.
You going to stay in that man, or we're going to see the zone again?
We're usually a man team.
All right, thanks for your time.
Okay.
All right, Lorenzo Romar, these two teams obviously played twice in the regular season. Washington won both, Billy Mack, but both games were very close. So this one's going to be decided in the next 20 minutes as expected.
Jimmy, that's exactly what happened to Arizona State all season long. They battled, but they seemed to lose just about every game that they were in close at the end. How about those in-game adjustments, both offensively and defensively, for Lorenzo Romar? We'll talk about those when we come back. Our Acura halftime report. Plus, we'll tell you what happened around the country when we return to Staples Center.
Welcome back to the Pacific Life Pac-10 tournament. The play-in games, California has advanced. Now we're trying to find out who will advance from the Washington-Arizona State game. Hi again, Steve Physiak along with Marcus Johnson. You said beginning of the game, ASU had to stay within what of rebounding? They are down 10, outboarded by 10 because of Brockman and Hawes.
Yeah, Brockman and Hawes have combined 15 rebounds. And offensive rebounding, Arizona State's given up 10 to the Washington Huskies, so second chance points have been huge for the Huskies. And also Christian Polk, 0 for 3 from the field, missed both his 3-point shots. He's got to generate some offense along with Jeff Pendergraft, just 4 points in that first half. Now Arizona State's having struggles against Washington's tough defense.
And as we take a look at a Pacific Life summary, it is a look at that rebounding. They have outboarded ASU by 10 rebounds, 25 to 15. The shooting is even. The three-point shooting has not been effective, but as you talked about, the switch from the zone to the man is what did it.
And it changed the whole personality of this Washington team. They got more aggressive on defense and carried over to the offensive end for them.
All right, let's go to Jim Watson.
As you and Marcus are right, you guys are dead on, and so is the shooting, 37% for each team. So I talked to the Arizona State coaches. I said, what happened with that run? They said, well, obviously they switched things up. We missed some open shots, and we didn't get rebounds. They got to get some inside scoring, and they knew that Washington would mix it up with the zone and the man-to-man. They said the most important thing in the second half, block out. You guys talked about that rebounding difference, 25 to 15. Washington is the best rebounding team in the entire Pac-10. Now remember that when UW went down to Tempe, they had a huge lead at halftime, and Arizona State came back in the second half, a 40 to 22 run, take it right down to the wire. The Huskies had to hold on.
Well, there is Hawes and John Brockman. They have combined for 19 points and 15 rebounds, and they've also done a fine job holding down Jeff Pendergraft, the top player for ASU, only 4 points and 4 rebounds for Jeff in that first half. And on the floor, it will be Derek Glasser at the point with Pendergraft to try and get him going right away, and he misses his first shot, and it will go out of bounds to the Huskies. They also will have a 2-inning on the floor with Serge Anguno and Jaron Ship. Washington counters with Appleby, Dentman guards, Pondexter, Hawes, Brockman front line.
Arizona State in second halves have outscored their opponents 31 to 26. They've held them to 34% field goal percentage, 23 from the three-point line. They really do a great job of increasing the intensity defensively in the second half. Washington's got to find an answer.
Dentman struggles with the dribble, then is tied up. Ball will belong to the Huskies, and the shot clock will go to 13 seconds remaining. ASU, meantime, scoreless the last 5 minutes and only 3 points their last 9. Spencer Hawes turning. He can hook left hand, right hand. He misses the left. He had 2 left hooks go in the first half.
Just he started the first half kind of missing makeable shots for him. That's a difficult shot, but it's a makeable shot, and that's how Serge started the first half.
Yes, he did. He hit a three, and he hits a three to open the second half. They need a really good first 5 minutes of the second half.
And for them, it starts again with defense, and we'll see if they continue to pressure the ball out top. What they do with Spencer Hawes on the inside, they try and front him. It doesn't work.
And let's see who has it. It still belongs to the Huskies with 18:50 remaining in the ball game.
For Serge Anguno, again, the big guy knocking down three-point shots. Tough matchup for whichever big for Washington, Brockman or Hawes, that has to defend him out there. But again, you got to make him prove that he can make that shot consistently enough to beat you.
Gentman penetrating that 2-3 zone, and Appleby lets it fly with just 5 seconds remaining in the shot clock and misses. So Ryan Appleby now in the ball game is just 1 of 6 shooting from the floor. He's been on fire of late. We told you coming in, averaging over 18 his last 3. Glasser missing the 3, and Appleby pulls it.
And the struggles by Ryan Appleby from the outside don't hurt you as much when you have Spencer Hawes and John Brockman in particular corralling as many offensive rebounds as they did in that first half. Brockman had 4 offensive rebounds, Hawes had 2. Second chance points, they were only up 10-6, but you don't count free throws as second chance points.
Appleby now 1 for 7 on a left-handed drive missing. Trying to post Pendergraft. Good defense by Hawes. And a 2, and he stepped on the end line and turns it over. That is the 8th turnover by ASU. They had 1 the first 12 minutes of the game, and they have had 7 since.
Corresponding to the increased man-to-man pressure and the effectiveness of the Washington Husky defense.
Pendergraft was waiting for him. He came from the weak side and knocked it into the first row.
Quincy Pondexter really reluctant to pull the trigger on that 12-foot short corner jump shot. That's a shot that's going to be there against the zone. You may need a player who has a little bit more confidence in his jumper, Phil Nelson or someone off your bench who can hit that.
All of a sudden, Washington having a much more difficult time penetrating that 2-3 zone in the second half. But Denman there with the left hand to tip it in, the smallest man on the floor. He's got 8.
As the guy who misses the shot, you know better than all of the 9 guys out there exactly where that rebound is coming off. He beat the bigger guys to the floor, beat him to the basketball.
Jeff Pendergraft. Well, when he gets that ball up high, it's tough to block, and he has great vision. 6 points now for Jeff.
Spencer Hawes played it as well defensively as you can play. Here's Hawes in the middle. That's the soft spot in that zone. Now he's been doing a good job of moving the basketball. That time, kind of took the quick shot on the catch and shoot. And here's Justin Denman, gets the left hand up on it, beats Jeff Pendergraft, 6'9" leaper to the basketball. So he knows right where it's going, right to the right side. Okay, I'll get there, tip it in with my left hand before you can even jump, big man.
They really feel like he is going to be a fine point guard of the future. Spencer Hawes now sits down. Hawes picking up a personal foul, his second of the game. You can see the way ASU started so hot, just 3 of 16 since. Jaron Shipp missing. Appleby on his back taps it to Artem Wallace. Brockman trying to post up on Pendergraft. He spins to his left and knocks it home.
See, you don't want to be. You look middle, freeze the defender, drop step baseline, and then use the rim as a shield against the shot blockers. Executed to perfection by John Brockman.
Help, John, help!
We have seen him get better every single game this year. And this is a team that's had to grow up together because, my goodness, they lost Brandon Roy, Jamal Williams, Bobby Jones, Mike Jensen from last year's team. That's 50 points, so Brockman now lifting them late. Number 7 seed Washington by 7 over Arizona State during 6 select Pac-10 basketball games on FSN this year. A Pontiac Pac-10 game-changing performance was selected. Pontiac awarded the school $1,000 to its General Scholarship Fund. Now here's your chance to vote for the Pontiac Pac-10 game-changing performance of the year, where Pontiac will award $10,000 to the winning school's General Scholarship Fund. Go to pac-10.org to vote for and for your chance to win a pair of season tickets to your favorite Pac-10 football team. That's pac-10.org to vote now through 12 Pacific time on Friday, March 9th. Let's now go to Jim Watson.
John Brockman having another huge day for UW. First team all Pac-10, over 500 rebounds. He led the conference in rebounds. The last Husky to do that was Todd McCullough. Led the conference with 14 double-doubles. And remember, back in December, he played huge against number 12 LSU. 19 points and 14 rebounds, and he put an end to Glenn Big Baby Davis' streak of 48 straight games in double figures. And here, Marcus, you'll love this. He's the only guy for Washington to start all 31 games. He is a gamer.
He is indeed, Jim Watson, just a tremendously hard worker, finishes first in every running drill in practice.
And takes charges. They're going to call that a block or a charge, but John had set himself.
Takes blocks too. He takes it all. Whatever gets him on the floor, he's taking it. But he was there to plug up the driving lane on that possession of Arizona State. Steve, one thing they haven't run a lot. Here's Artem Wallace with the little bump out top. I think that's where the foul was called. Brockman was there. But Arizona State hasn't run their flex offense. And that was a staple. Herb Sendek is known for that Princeton spread that Pete Carell of Princeton kind of popularized, but felt that this team was a little too young to grasp all the intricacies of the Princeton spread. So he had them running the flex, and they ran it to perfection when they did their game against USC and beat the Trojans in Tempe. It's a great offense against a man-to-man, and it's an offense that they do a good job of executing.
They did call the foul on Artem Wallace, the second of the game.
They're kind of running out of a horn set where you got a double high post and a little screen on the ball for the point guard to come off. Make Washington have to play some man-to-man defense, trying to negotiate some flex screens.
They get a load of Pendergrove. It looked like Brockman had his right arm draped around Jeff, and a personal foul will be called. He did hook. We've got 3 terrific officials tonight: Dick Hardmell, Don McAllister, and Bobby McCroy. They have all officiated in the NCAA tournament. There's Dick, who was in the Final Four last year. 2, and he gets inside and scores.
He looked like he grew up playing in the post. He's so comfortable down low. He's so strong. Out of the suburbs of Toronto, Canada, averaged a triple-double in high school. And of course, it was in the suburbs of Toronto, Canada.
And at the 14.5-minute mark, Washington owning a 5-point lead on ASU. ASU tightening up their defense. They have been denying the gaps and also denying that entry pass, with Hawes in the sideline. Now from Wallace to Brockman.
And without Hawes on the floor, Washington is once again in struggle mode offensively. I mean, their offense is having a hard time finding open shots, finding good shots against this tough 2-3 zone of Arizona State.
There's Adrian to Oliver, and he'll miss the shot. Pendergraph high to pick it off the glass.
It's time for Arizona State to make their move.
Tuini, and he will be at the line. Had a chance at a 3-point play, and that would have been a big moment in this game, because that's exactly the way ASU came back to beat USC.
Yeah, nice job, Derek Glasser, pushing it, probing it, passing it up front, out ahead to Antwia Tuine, and he does a nice job drawing another foul on John Brockman. That's one way to stymie Brockman's effectiveness, pick up that 3rd foul on him, get him on the bench.
Right now, Lorenzo Romar staying with John Brockman, and Spencer Hawes and Justin Denton have gone to the scorers table. And now coming in for Brockman and for Pondexter.
This is a real sensitive point in the game for Washington right now. I mean, Arizona State, they've hung around. You know, Washington State went on the 22-3 run. Still were not able to kind of pull away like they would like to, because they've gotten themselves in such a hole in that first half. Arizona State is right back in it, so that pressure shifts back to the Huskies end. Let's see who steps up to take the heat.
Arizona State now on a 9-4 run this half. Appleby with the ball, getting it over to Justin Denton, trying to go low, Spencer Hawes. And stolen by Jeff Pendergraft. Bad pass across the court by Spencer Hawes, who tried to go through traffic rather than over it. And Gunu, short. And out of bounds to Washington.
Pressure will cause you to do that, not see guys defensively who are there. You're not being able to complete the passes that you were completing with ease in the first half. Those shots become, those open shots, those contested shots become a lot tougher to knock down.
They've really denied Appleby by catching and shooting the ball in the second half.
They're trying to bury Appleby from corner to corner. They're trying to free him up for some open looks, but Arizona State, nice job keying up on him.
Wallace to Appleby, and Ryan misses again. Hawes, right hand, yes!
Oh,
they were waiting for the pass.
The 7-foot looked off at Artem Wallace, drew the defense toward Artem Wallace, just opened up the lane for Spencer Hawes. What a beautiful move by the 7-footer.
9 points, 8 rebounds for Spencer.
Not a lot of ball screens on the dribbler, but not a lot of action away from the basketball for Arizona State.
Skip pass to Jaron Shipp, who nails the three.
Arizona State wants to do, just maintain contact.
Appleby, in and out. Rebounding, Arizona State, and a timeout is called.
It's a big difference.
And he got it in the eye, Marcus.
Yeah, he took a swipe from a Husky player to the face, but it's a big difference now that there's no John Brockman on the floor along with Spencer Hawes. As we take a look at Antwi Atuene right, wow, Adrian Oliver with a fingernail in the eye. That's one of those things that stings for a moment, but it looks like I thought he was going to try and stay on the floor, but Christian Polk is going to come in for him, which could be a bonus for Arizona State if Christian Polk can discover his sideways rotation stroke that he has on his jump shot, but it's very effective.
Well, here's the reason the decision made. Antuni comes out a 55% foul shooter, and they have Polk in the game. It was not a shooting situation to Polk. A much better foul shooter if that was the case. And here's Glasser with Polk now backward.
And once again, into this horn set where you get the 2 high post guys, 2 baseline guys spread a little screen on the basketball, which they get absolutely nothing from.
Glasser knocks down the 3, and look at this. Arizona State has reclaimed the lead.
Derek Glasser, over the last 9 games, has knocked down over 53% of his 3-point field goal attempts. I know he struggled overall against Washington. My thing with him is that he just needs more shots.
Well, they're getting Hawes and Brockman alive inside, but they need Appleby to start delivering outside. And now a bad pass by Ryan and turns it over.
There's one of those passes under pressure.
Appleby just 1 for 8 from the floor. And Arizona State on a 15-6 run in the second half. It's the Sun Devils now by 1. Arizona State with a 39-38 lead over Washington just moments ago. A young man who owns a 62 Nova was trying to upgrade for a brand new Pontiac. His shot! Oh! And he's going home, hoping he can make it home in his old beat-up Nova.
I'll tell you what the problem was. He needs to put some shoes on. Get out here barefooted, think he's going to knock down jumpers.
That's what he would have won.
Man, so close, but yet so far.
Not a bad ride.
I can see myself in that on a nice sunny LA day. Tooling down the
freeway.
Yeah, Pacific Coast Highway.
Here we go.
Down.
How about this run? Arizona State down by 8 at the half. Now leads Washington by 1. Serge Ngunu, a walk with the basketball and turns it back over to the Huskies. And remember, the Huskies need to win the Pac-10 tournament to make it to their 4th consecutive NCAA party. Their current 3-year streak equals Washington's previous long tournament run from 1984 through 86. And no Pac-10 team has ever made the NCAA tournament without a winning conference record. They are 8-10
The question for me is, how long do you leave John Brockman on the bench with his 3 fouls? The way your offense has kind of gone south here for Washington over the last few minutes.
That helps.
Yeah, that
Justin
helps.
Denton.
And this time, the facilitator in the middle against the zone is Artem Wallace. Doesn't possess the passing superiority of Spencer Hawes, but did a great job getting rid of the basketball quickly on that swing pass.
But this is exactly what Lorenzo Romar told Jim Watson in our pregame, where he said, this is a team that never quits. ASU just fights and fights and fights. And that's why they've had so many close games this year. Even though they have lost most of those, they have been in each and every one to the very end. Finishing is what has been difficult for this mainly freshman, sophomore dominated team.
Well, a very difficult team to impose your will upon, and I give Herb Sendek and his staff a lot of credit for that. As Lorenzo Romar talked about, even when they were in the midst of the worst part of their losing streak, never had their heads down. Always maintain a positive outlook.
Adrian Oliver corner. No, he misses the 3, and Adrian's not the guy you want shooting that 3. Down to the other end, it's Christian Polk firing in the layup, and ASU back in front by 2.
Poor defensive balance by the Washington Huskies to give up the layup, but let's see if that gets Polk off the schneid, get him started.
And that will also bring Brockman and Appleby back in the ball game. They were on the sideline for a long time, and when they left, they had the lead. Now they are down by a pair, and a fine feed from Derek Glasser to Christian Polk.
Second or third time this game, Derek Glasser's found the streaky teammate ahead. This time is Christian Polk. Does a nice job on the finish. Yeah, I mean, you got to throw Brockman back in there, take the gamble. If he picks up that 4th, then you can bring him back out. But you need the intangibles of what he brings to the floor, the extra possessions from all the hustle and offensive rebounds, and the ability to catch the tough passes inside from Spencer Hawes.
Well, the Sun Devils on a 10-3 run with Brockman on the bench. That tells you how important he's been. And Denton just hands the ball to Derek Glasser.
Bad time for that kind of a careless turnover by Justin Dittman.
Polk. No. And there's Hawes. Another bad pass from the Washington Huskies. They have really made some poor entry feeds from the wing to the middle. And a lot of them unforced errors, and right now ASU in control and with a good rhythm. Good rhythm for the Sun Devils means the other team's kind of clutching all over the place, and that's been the case for Washington the last 5 minutes.
And I attribute a little bit of that to kind of feeling the pressure also. That time on that pass, Spencer Hawes kind of took his eye off of it at the last moment, didn't secure it firmly, bring it tight into his body, kind of looked around like he was going to make his move before he caught the basketball. Derek Glasser right there to jar it loose and force the turnover.
Washington only had 10 points to start the game in the first 12 minutes. Maybe they're having a sour start in the second half. They have 9 points in the second half, first 10 minutes. And that's when they poured it on. They ended the first half with a 22-3 run.
Fueled by defense, and this is what they've got to get back to here at this stage of the game. Just get back into playing that same type of hard-nosed defense, intelligent defense, because you don't want John Brockman picking up that 4th foul.
Serge Angunin missing. Pendergraft may have gone over the back of John Brockman, who had him sealed off, and that is the case. It's the second foul for Jeff Pendergraft.
Thought it was a pretty good job by Pendergraft. I mean, you got 2 guys who love the contact inside. It looked like he just out-quicked him to the basketball. Herb Sendek is letting the official know the exact same thing. He thought it was a terrible call.
A lot of fans came down from the Pacific Northwest hoping to see a Big Apple basketball shootout tomorrow night in the quarterfinals. If Washington can somehow get by Arizona State, it'll be Washington and Washington State. And twice this year, the Cougars have knocked off the Huskies. But first things first.
First things first. Spencer Hawes missed that first game in Pullman, and then in Seattle, every move that Tony Bennett, the Coach of the Year candidate, Coach of the Year from Washington State made seemed to work like a charm.
Well, if there's one team in this conference,
offense,
that's the 4th foul on John Brockman,
who actually traveled before he made the play. Would have been better off getting that call against him as opposed to the 4th foul, which is going to force him once again back to the bench.
And you just wonder if this is going to send some doubt into the Huskies' minds as they lose their leader. Dylan Nelson, a freshman, comes back on.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing that could stop that would be Phil Nelson coming in and making a major contribution.
John Brockman was the one Husky on U.S. Bank First Team All Pac-10 award. Aaron Aflalo won the Player of the Year from UCLA. Darren Collison, another Bruin, was on it with Brooks, Hill, Lowe, Weaver, Williams, and Nick Young, great shooter from USC. Now John Brockman to the sideline with 4 personal fouls with 8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the game.
Officials are really tightening up with the calls on this game. All the touch fouls out top, the hand checking, they're letting nothing go. As a result, Derek Glasser gets a chance to earn a couple of easy ones from the free throw line.
And for Washington, Marcus, is this where we find out who's the leader?
Well, we know who's the leader.
Who's on the sideline?
Who's second in command?
Yes, exactly.
You know,
who's the lieutenant?
Yeah. Because John Brockman, you know, he's the leader. Now, who's going to step up in this situation? Now, you would hope that Spencer Hawes, Justin Dentman, and Ryan Appleby also, who the weekend against USC and UCLA had a couple of effective games.
Appleby has been so quiet in the game, just 1 of 9 shooting from the floor, and he has really been scoring well of late. But that young man, Derek Glasser, has extended his defense from that 2-3 zone to cover up Appleby and not give him a good rhythm shot. He's a good catch-and-shoot guy, but not as strong off the dribble.
And they kind of start out the zone in a 1-2-2 with Christian Polk.
Spencer Hawes missing the shot and picked off by Jaron Shipp. A 4-point ASU lead on a 21-9 Sun Devil run.
Lid on the basket for the Washington Huskies. And Arizona State continue to capitalize. Now they're into the flex. They're into their flex offense and see the quality of shots they can get out of this. A lot better movement, a lot better baseline screens.
And the 2, and he turns it over. Bobby McCoy, though, that says it's still Washington basketball. There's a time on the floor when we come back. It's ASU 45 and Washington 41. Here at Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles, it's ASU overcoming an 8-point deficit to take a 4-point lead on the Washington Huskies. Right now, let's go to Jim Watson.
Fizz, we're watching history repeat itself. 10 years ago, almost to the day, the 1997 ACC tournament, Herb Sendek, the coach of North Carolina State, they came in as the number 8 seed. They were only 4-12. They opened by beating Georgia Tech. The next day, they beat the number 1 team in the country, Duke. Then they beat number 22 Maryland, went to the final, and barely lost to number 5 North Carolina. That was the team that had Jamison and Vince Carter. Herb Sendek is 11-2 in first-round conference tournament games.
Well, right now, he has his team in control against the number 7 seed and a talented playing team in the Washington Huskies, who force an ASU miss, and it's Justin Denman working the middle of the floor. And again, the Sun Devils extending their defense in the Washington guards.
Yeah, you see Christian Polk applying some pressure way out top, kind of a 1-2-2 alignment. Here's Phil Nelson stepping in for John Brockman. Didn't look too comfortable on that shot.
But I think when they extend their guards, all of a sudden, when you have Brockman out of the game, you can't get the ball to the high post to get Hawes to enter it to John Brockman. So they're going to bring in a more physical guy, and Arden Wallace, and maybe Hawes can get it to Wallace.
Yeah, that was the adjustment in the zone that they made after halftime. There's a little bit more ball pressure on the Washington guards out top because Washington was doing a terrific job entering the ball in the Hawes.
Say he touched the official with it, so turns the basketball over, and it will still be Washington basketball as Justin Denton trying to inbounds to Arden Wallace. They get it to Appleby. Shipp almost got the steal. And Ryan now coming up the floor. They have a new shot clock. Pondexter, left wing.
Pondexter has been awfully quiet. Haven't called his name out a lot at the offensive end of the floor. And here's a guy averaging double figures, 10 points a game, just a freshman.
Appleby. His first field goal in a long time. He ends a 1-for-9 drought.
He's the kind of shooter. He gets one to go through the net for him. Could spell trouble for Arizona State. They better stay aware.
Yeah, that whole defense has to rotate because it's all about defending the ball, not the man, and Appleby's spotting up well. Travel on Jaron Ship. And Appleby's shot breaks the all-time single-season three-point record at the University of Washington, set by Trey Simmons, who had it 80 just a couple of years ago. This is it.
Trey Simmons out of Garfield High School, the school that produced Brandon Roy, who meant so much to this Washington team last year.
Yeah, he sets himself outside, rarely drives to the hoop, as those numbers indicate. See how they reverse the ball. There's Appleby again. And Wallace is the man who's trying to set a screen for Ryan.
Got a skip pass from Hawes to Appleby with Wallace setting that weak side screen. Didn't work.
Kevin tries to save it and does to Spencer Hawes. Pondexter, yes!
Washington trying to show some signs of life offensively. Takes the 1-point lead on the outstanding feed from Spencer Hawes to Quincy Pondexter, freshman to freshman.
A quick timeout for Arizona State, 46-45 Huskies. Marcus Johnson, you get to a conference tournament, and sometimes it's hustle plays that allow you to advance.
If you want to advance, you better make them. And Justin Dittman did on this save, kind of a blind save, flying out of bounds. Watch out for Coach Shaw's foot. And then Spencer Hawes, nice pass fake corner, which got the defense to shift toward that direction. The Hawes is right, and did a nice job finding a cutting. And don't let me underemphasize the importance of Quincy Pondexter continuing to move without the basketball, getting himself open, as opposed to being a spectator standing out on the perimeter watching.
And his defense has been much better the last 3 minutes. Here's Pendergraft trying to go inside on Hawes. They get it out to Glasser. A 2-and-E is defended by a much bigger Artem Wallace. Pretty feed inside to a dunking Pendergraft, and nicely done, and ASU back up by 1.
And we saw Antwia 2-and-A play a major role in Arizona State's upset of then number 22 ranked USC down in Tempe, making plays like that. 50 passes, good defensive plays, steals.
Hawes looking for a cutter, doesn't have it, and has it punched free from behind by a 2-and-E. Another steal by Antwi.
There he is right there. He plays just like that. Those tough hustle plays. Saw Hawes on the back flow. No teammate yelled out, watch out, something, alerting him to the presence of Antwi 2-and-A.
And Lorenzo Romar has just sent John Brockman, his leader, his hustle player, to the scoreboard to come in. Jeff Pendergraft misses the shot just barely. Picked off by the much smaller Jaron Ship. No shot clock, and Glasser will back it out. And Herb Sendek says, thumb down, let's reset.
Love the fight. Arizona State, that time the freshman Jaron Ship digging out the tough offensive rebound. Now they kind of go back into their flex offense. A lot of back screens, baseline, ball swinging side to side from the top.
A 2-and-E. That's an offensive foul.
And that was a close call. I mean, it looked like Justin Dittman got there after Antwi 2-and-A had leaped in the air, which would have been a blocking foul, but nonetheless, the fourth personal on the heart, one of the heart guys for this team, Antwi 2-and-A.
And John Brockman, you see, has moved into that huddle with the jacket off. He will be checking back into the game with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left with 4 personal fouls. And Herb Sendek with a much more active Jeff Pendergraft back in the lead, 47-46 over the Washington Huskies. Steve Physiak, Marcus Johnson, Jim Watson with you at the Pacific Life Pac-10 tournament as Arizona State has a 1-point lead over Washington. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. ASU down by 8 at the half. What have they done, Marcus, to get back in this game?
They've done a nice job defensively. The first thing they did was get John Brockman out the game by picking up his third and fourth fouls. That helped their cause, but they continue to play their tough defense. And talking about their defense over the last 9 games in the second half has just been outstanding against some good teams. UCLA, USC, Washington State, Stanford, Oregon.
Again, Arizona State really extending that zone. The guys out top are Ship and Glasser.
Better job pressuring the basketball, not a whole lot to penetrate. That's a great move.
By Justin Dentman off balance.
Yeah, and you talked about who's going to step into the leadership void when Brockman was out. Now Brockman's back on the floor, but that's the kind of plays you need Justin Dentman to make to have a chance to pull this game out. You need other guys because so much attention is being given towards Brockman and Hawes.
Oh, they tried to get it to Pendergraft down low. He was well defended on the right angle by Spencer Hawes, so Glasser tried a bounce pass to him that went off the fingertips of his offensive man and out of bounds. It'll be Washington basketball with the lead when we come back. Yes, they do, Bill McDonald. 48-47, the Huskies have the lead. Don McAllister holding the basketball high as here we go, the final 3:29. And it will be Justin Dentman, who just made a remarkable off-balance shot to bring it up the floor.
Windsor Romar had the clipboard out. He is trying to design something specifically, a need play in late game situations where you can pretty much guarantee, hopefully, yourself a good shot.
Brockman's posting up against Serge Angunu. Much smaller player defending Spencer Hawes.
This is going to boil down to somebody just kind of making a play happen.
There's 5 on the shot clock, and Hawes catches it up high, keeps it up high, and drops it home.
Terrific recognition by John Brockman at Spencer Hawes. Got a man, Christian Polk, who's about 9 inches shorter on his back, just threw it up there for him to gather and finish.
Denman defending Glasser, and then we have a foul, I believe, on Spencer Hawes, who is staying too close to Jeff Pendergraft.
You see Spencer Hawes, nice job, again, making himself available, coming to the basketball. He's got the smaller player, Christian Polk, on his back. Good job by Brockman to recognize and feed.
And that was the 3rd foul on Hawes. Brockman playing with 4 fouls. And at the free throw line will be Jeff Pendergraft, a 74% foul shooter. Conley knocks down the first to make it a 2-point game nearing the 2.5-minute mark. Herb Sendek's last 5 North Carolina State teams have gone to the NCAA tournament.
Talked about his outstanding record in the first round of the conference tournament, 11-2. And you can see why. I mean, his teams just don't go anywhere. They don't go away.
Well, Jeff misses the second, so it's a 2-point game.
They're going to make you have to beat them. They're not going to make the mistakes that a lot of teams make that allow you to beat them.
They keep Brockman down on that low post, and Hawes on the opposite side. Hawes was doing a lot of high-low action with Brockman first half for success.
I mean, same alignment, and Christian Polk may wind up on Spencer Hawes once again if they can get the ball to John Brockman.
Shot clock down to 8. Inside Brockman. Got it! With just 1 second left in the shot clock, Brockman gives the Huskies a 4-point lead.
Afterthought pass by Justin Dentman, who thought about just trying to get something up on the rim, but John Brockman made himself available, sealed Angunu on his back. They continue to apply the pressure at the point of attack by Justin Dentman on Derek Glasser.
John Brockman inside has been more than a force for Washington. Washington with a 52-48 lead on Arizona State. How about this play by John Brockman?
Yeah, but watch Brockman do a good job of stepping in front of Angunu, not here, but right there, sealing him and providing an outlet for Justin Dentman, who was kind of in panic mode at that point. You see the clock right there. We're talking 3-2. He delivers that pass with 2 seconds on the shot clock. We give Brockman, again, a lot of credit for staying active with his feet and with his movement and using his body to seal Serge Angunu.
Another great inside game for both Brockman and Hawes, who have combined for 27 points and 18 rebounds, each with 9. But right now, ASU with the basketball, 16 seconds left in the shot clock, 1:41 in the game clock, and another timeout is taken.
Lorenzo Romar didn't feel completely comfortable with what he was looking at in terms of Arizona State's offensive alignment.
And that last shot by Big John Brockman is our Red Lobster nothing but net shot of the game.
Maybe the shot of the game for the Huskies also. Not only nothing but net, but John Brockman. Again, a great job sealing, great job by Justin Denton to find and deliver.
16 points, 9 rebounds for the 6'7", 260-pound sophomore. Snohomish, Washington. His sister Kristen played on the Washington basketball team in 2002-2003. Very athletic family. And a guy who has been a leader by his work ethic on this team. He and Hawes have dominated ASU inside, but right now ASU with the basketball changing their inbounds play, and Herb Sendek is a master at inbounds plays. Again, just 16-second shot clock.
You line up in the old picket fence from the movie Hoosiers. But don't look to attack directly out of that, but get into that. Again, that horn set, two high post guys, and Gudo. And Pendergraft try to go straight into Pendergraft for a post-up. A good defense by Spencer Hawes.
Well, they need Jimmy Chitwood now.
Nope, not happening. That was a good defensive sequence, especially Spencer Hawes to front Jeff Pendergraft from that right elbow down to the low left box trying to post up.
14th turnover by ASU, now 125. And the Huskies hoping they'll have a Apple Cup basketball shootout tomorrow night against Washington State. But a lot of time left in this game.
Arizona State picks up their pressure. And
wow, and they just fouled Ryan Appleby, and Herb Sendek said, why Appleby?
Well, you got to get in the penalty. I mean, they want to get to the penalty, so they've got to give up these fouls at this stage of the game, so that if need be, they'll be able to put Washington at the free throw line. Here's another. Need to get him again. Yeah.
So now they have one more, and if you are Lorenzo Romar, you want it in Ryan Appleby's hands. That was the 6th team foul. And so the next one will be 1 plus the penalty, but Appleby a 94% foul shooter, and they're going to use Ryan to inbound the ball. Denman's got to get it front court, and finally does, but almost carried it. He almost carried it, and he's fouled by Steve Jones.
Now that's an interesting bit of strategy by Herb Sendek, down by 4. I've been almost tempted to kind of play that out defensively. As Justin Denman almost,
I'm telling you.
Almost. That was a turnover uncalled by Justin Denman.
And that sigh of relief by Justin may have been because he didn't get caught.
Again, Herb Sendek fouling here at 4-point deficit in this situation. It pays off that.
An 80% foul shooter, missing the first end by 1-1. So ASU still in it, down 4, 1:04 left. Glasser for 3, short.
You didn't really need a three-pointer.
And before Polk could get it inside to Pendergraft for the dunk, a personal foul was called on the Washington Huskies, sending Polk to the free throw line. He was an excellent foul shooter at 81%. But a heck of a ball game we've seen as ASU opened up an 11-point lead in the first half, then saw Washington roar back on a 22-3 run to end the first half to take an 8-point lead, only to see the Sun Devils come back and go up by 4. Now Polk misses the front end of his 1-and-1. And Appleby is there for the pull. And here is the best foul shooter for Washington and for anybody in the Pac-10 Conference, because Appleby this year a 94% foul shooter. He's taken 35 shots, Marcus. He has made 33.
Pretty darn good shooting for Ryan Appleby. But that rebound that he just secured off the missed free throw, because that ball was tapped out by Jeff Pendergraft. Ryan Appleby went up in a crowd and corralled in the tough rebound which would possibly extend the season of the Washington Huskies.
Well, a timeout's been called as the Huskies go up by 5 as Appleby makes the front end of the 1-and-1. And we would like to let you know that there's a new network that covers one of the most prestigious conferences in the country, from football to basketball and everything in between. Now you can see the Big Ten's best all on one channel. The Big Ten Network, coming August 2007. Well, the Pac-10 has been one of the top basketball conferences this year, certainly with 6 teams looking like they are locks to go to the NCAA tournament, with Washington to throw a wrench into that by winning this tournament. And in 2004, they lost in the title game to Stanford. They beat Arizona for the championship in 05 before losing to Oregon in the quarterfinals last year.
In 2004, they started the season 0-5. They won 12 of their next 13 games, finished up 12-6, had an RPI of 60, and got invited to the NCAA tournament. They want to try and extend this season. As you mentioned, maybe have to win the whole thing. If they get to the championship game, they'll be 21-12. It's RPI of about 57 or 58.
So a 6-point Washington lead over Arizona State, 53.9 seconds left. The Huskies in a 13-3 run the last 3 minutes, and it's all been with Brockman on the floor, coming back with 4 fouls and playing quite well.
I like this move by Lorenzo Romar. Extend the pressure. Make Arizona State have to take more time off the clock to get into their offense, and that's the shot that you get.
Appleby diving for it, holding on to it, and Arizona State must foul the best foul shooter in the Pac-10 conference.
Brilliant move by Ryan Appleby. Don't
Just
give it
hold
up.
on to the ball.
Don't give it up hoping to get it back. Just hold on to it. You know they got to come and get you.
Right now, Appleby's feeling good in the neighborhood.
You finally got a chance to use that, huh? You've been waiting for a while.
Hey, how do you like them apples?
Doing your research. Are we sure that's the that's it? Huh? Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay, we hope so.
We asked about 8 people. Well, Ryan Appleby drops number 1. A little frown from some of the Sun Devil fans as their season could be ending at 8-22, but they are going to be getting better next year with recruits like James Harden and Mel McMillan. Eric Boateng coming in.
So James Harden play in the CIF.
Ooh, there's a charge, yes, on Derek Glasser as he just ran right over John Brockman, who plays this game like you'd play football at Husky Stadium.
He gets up like feeling good. I mean, look at that. He likes that. That kind of contact is what he lives for. Watch him in here just like, yeah, hit me, baby. Ah, okay.
Tyrone Willingham saying, give me that guy in the front line. We'll put him at tight end and run over some people.
He may hurt some of Tyrone's players based on.
Well, there is Lorenzo Romar, just a terrific coach, has brought nothing but success to Washington. This is his 5th year, started with 10 wins, then jumped to 19, jumped to 29, had 26 last year. And if they win this game, they'll have 19 this season, despite losing so many great players from a year ago.
But that 5-second violation, wow. Come on, you got to be aware of your timeout. Quincy Pondexter is a freshman. Big turnover if Arizona State can knock down a quick 3-pointer and really put the heat on the Huskies.
They wanted the inbounds, and it wasn't there, and they forced it, and Denman with the steal, and Appleby is fouled again. So Ryan may not have done it from outside 3-point range, but he's doing it from the foul line to seal this Husky win.
And with the exception of a couple of wins late for Arizona State, USC, then against Cal, I mean, these are the kinds of things that have prevented this team from closing the deal, and that's why they've been so close so many times in the course of the season.
Now 4 or 5 from the foul line is Ryan Appleby, and all of those here late. He has 10 points.
This will set up a pretty good game tomorrow night. Washington State, round 3.
First 2 claimed by the Cougars. And the Cougars, of course, the number 2 seed after beating USC in an excellent double overtime game last week. From the corner, it's Jaron Shipp with 15.6 seconds remaining to make it a 6-point game. That's 13 points for Jaron Shipp. And it will be California against UCLA tomorrow as the Golden Bears advance by beating Oregon State 70-51. Ryan Anderson, the fabulous freshman for the Bears, had 20 first-half points and was just scorching the nets as the Bears hit, 10 3-pointers in the first half?
Ryan Anderson had 5 of those.
And coming up for you in most regions, the FSN final score. FSN West Pacific Life Pac-10 Tournament post-game show coming your way. We've got everybody here. Bill McDonald, Paul Westfall, Don McClain, Jim Watson, Steve Biziak, Marcus Johnson, Barry Tompkins, Dan Gowamity. We'll be back tomorrow all day for 4 games.
Let's play 2.
Let's play 4.
What we're doing, we're calling. Let's call 2.
Okay, there you go.
We're calling 2.
Brandon Burmeister in the game, and he'll be entering the basketball. A fine shooter. They have him in because of his foul shooting ability. And Burmeister gets it into Spencer Hawes, who is fouled immediately with 14.7 seconds remaining. Again, we really believe that the Huskies need to win the Pac-10 tournament to make it to their 4th consecutive NCAA party, which would be a school record. But they have to go through Washington State tomorrow. But if there's one team in the Pac-10 conference that can get you ready for Washington State, it's Arizona State, because they play similar styles.
Yeah, they do indeed. And this Washington State team, the job Tony Bennett has done. Again, he just every button he pushes just seems to work like a charm, especially when they play the Huskies. Played them at home. Huskies played a tough game, had a chance to win, but between Taylor Rochesty and Aaron Baines and Chris Matthews came in, hit a big jump shot. Ivory Clark played himself a heck of a game in Seattle.
John Brockman, Spencer Hawes, too much for ASU tonight. Serge Anguna will miss the 3, and there's another rebound for John Brockman, and another double-double night for Big John, as Washington will advance to the quarterfinal round. Brockman, 16 points, 10 rebounds. Spencer Hawes with a 13-9 night as they eliminate Arizona State by winning 59-51.